that Panipuri vendor is there, vegetable vendor avutarala. For those people, if you want to bring into formal sector, so what can be register? ಅಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರು ಕನ್ವಿನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಫಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಪ್ರೊಸೀಜರ್ how will you convince them so advantages of awareness ಯಾರು ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ awareness ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಕಟ್ಟಬೇಕಂತ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ awareness ಇದೆ ಅದು ಕಟ್ಟಬೇಕಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ದಾಗಲೇ they start hiding the taxes there or they will go for information of the sector. So see, questions will be like that. Question is actually there are many questions. There is a rise of informal sector or informal employment. How to improve that? See, ಯಾವುದನ್ನೇ ನೀವು ಎಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಕೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ you should make that thing as attractive, right or wrong? Unless and until you make it attractive, people will not get attracted, right? So how can you make the formal sector attractive for the informal sector? Concession program. You can say that once you start registering, so we will give tax concession. Tax cut ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. Then so wages is how they for a sector, it's a private entity. Government of promise ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ wages. Competition levies scheme ಇದೆ, so you can say that. So GST. So ಯಾವ ನೀವು tax compliance burden ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಲ್ಲ, so if you ease the tax compliance, so ease of doing business ಅಂತ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. So ಯಾವುದೇ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಂಟಿಟಿ ಬರಲಿ ಅವ್ರು ಯಾವಾಗ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಈಸಿ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, so then they will easily come to the formal sector. See, the reason for remaining in informal sector is one is tax money. So tax ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಇನ್ನೊಂದೇನು ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೈನ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ಡನ್ ಆಗ್ಬಾರ್ದು. ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡೋದೇ ಒಂದು another ಪ್ರೊಸೀಜರ್ ಆದರೆ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಗೂಡ್ಸೇ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅವರು. ಡೈಲಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬರೀ ಡಾಕ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ನೋಡೋದು, ರಿವೈಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಇನ್ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದೇ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೈನ್ಸ್ ಈಸಿ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Then what? You can give concession or tax cuts. Then anything else? Think about the financial terms only because ದುಡ್ಡು ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. So that's the thing. Think in financial terms, what can be done? So initial investment ಕೊಡಬಹುದು government. So they say that, so there is a scheme actually, Mudra loan ಅಂತ ಇದೆ. It's for MSMEs, small, micro, small. So they can say that, so Mudra loan, it's also for formalization only. So Mudra loan ಕೊಡಬೇಕಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ they have to be a formal sector. Register ಆಗಬೇಕು. In MSME industry, register ಆಗಬೇಕು. Then only they give the benefits. Okay? So you can say that giving of loans. So collateral free loan ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು RBI. So if you are registered entity, then we give a collateral free loan. Then you also get investment from the Mudra loans. ಅದು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. Then if they can go for this one PLIS ಅಂತ ಇದೆ, production linked incentive scheme. So what is that is like? There is your PLIS. ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಲಿಂಕ್ ಅಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ವಾಟ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಲಿಂಕಿಂಗ್ ಯುವರ್ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಟು ಇನ್ಸೆಂಟಿವ್. ವಾಟ್ ಯು ಮೀನ್ ಬೈ ಇನ್ಸೆಂಟಿವ್? ಇನ್ಸೆಂಟಿವ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ಸ್, ರೈಟ್? ಇನ್ಸೆಂಟಿವ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್. ಸೊ ಯು ಆರ್ ಲಿಂಕಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ವಿತ್ ಇನ್ಸೆಂಟಿವ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ಸೆಂಟಿವ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ದ ಸ್ಕೀಮ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ, PLI ಸ್ಕೀಮ್ ಇದೆ. So what they will do is that as soon as like you even I biscuit packet produce ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, let's say, right? So the government will say that if you start producing 10 biscuit packets, so it reduce the tax rate. So tax rate ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. And also what it will give you subsidy ಕೂಡ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ. The PLI is very much important, sir, because it's considered in your mains actually, not your. So what will happen is like, let us say that at present like want to say 5 biscuit packets are produced. Right? So 5 biscuit packets के और ये तरफ आते हैं. Tax is 2 rupees. Right? Tax 2 rupees आता है. So then what they will say? And then you 10 biscuit packet produce करना start करते हैं. Tax will be 1 rupee. Getting this one? So you 10 ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ not on the remaining 5 goods. All 10 issue tax ಎಷ್ಟಿರುತ್ತೆ? 1 rupee ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದೇ ನೀವು 5 produce ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ how much it will be? It will be only 2 rupees. That's how government tries to control any of the sector. So government is also electronics industry ಇದೆಲ್ಲ, so it has to grow because of China ಮೇಲೆ important dependence ಇದೆ, import will ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ. So we want to improve the electronic sector. So at that time what they said, they introduced the PLI scheme. So we are introducing PLI scheme for the electronic manufacturing. So ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, people will start investing more. So ಮುಂಚೆ 5, let us say 5 biscuit produce ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು ಅವರು, so then they think that we ಜಾಸ್ತಿ produce ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, so we can reduce the tax burden. right? They are reducing the tax burden, so they go for increased production, and increased production will help in what? Reducing the import bill, and production ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆದರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? Employment ಕೂಡ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, number of units ಕೂಡ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, and another perspective of production is GDP ಕೂಡ increase ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, because GDP is nothing but final value of goods and services provided or actually produced. Got this one? Just take this one again. Formalizing informal sectors. And formalizing informal sectors. In the first time we start. Based on Laffer's curve, based on Laffer's curve, based on Laffer's curve, we can say that based on Laffer's curve, we can say that government cannot increase tax rate. Government cannot increase tax rate to increase the revenue collection. Government cannot increase the tax rate to increase the revenue collection. So stop and continue. In this case, government has to widen its tax base. In this case, government has to widen its tax base, which means bringing more people, and sectors, into the formal tax brackets, Next, take the first point. One of the way to increase, one of the way to widen tax base, is increasing formal employment. One of the way to widen tax base is to increase formal employment. Next one. Another way is to bring informal sectors. Into formal category. Below that is just not a new point. Below that only continue. There are different ways to bring informal sector into formal category. Take the first A, take the sub point. Giving incentives like tax cuts, for registration. Means for registration of the informal sector. Right? Then second one, giving incentives for registration, and you write giving of collateral free loans, scheme of collateral free loans for MSMEs. For MSMEs, based on the criteria of registration. Based on the criteria of registration. Based on the criteria of registration. So in free loan registration criteria, they have to register, right? So once they register, what will happen? They get it to the forward. Next one. Government can also push for. Government can also push for PLIS scheme. PLIS scheme. In the bracket you write down production linked incentive scheme. PLIS scheme in the bracket production linked incentive scheme. Production linked incentive scheme. Put happen and continue. Where government can put registration as eligibility criteria. Where government can put registration as eligibility criteria. Registration as eligibility criteria, which will ensure both increased production and formalization of informal sector. In the example, there is a scheme actually, formalization of food processing industry. Formalization of food processing industry. Okay. Just read on that. Just give a good read. Small article on any of the website, so you'll get to know that. So they have found out that more than 90% of food processing industry are informal in nature. So they want to bring it under the formal category. So whenever they want to bring it under formal category, so they are running this scheme. So where they give tax credits or incentives or investment and all those. There is one small thing. See here. We learned about destination branch tax, right? So that is what your IGST. So your IGST is equal to what? CGST plus SGST. I will skip kind of thing. So it includes both central GST and state GST. That is your IGST. And this will go to whom? Center. And this will go to state. Which state? The destination. Getting that? So it's not what to say. GST is not equal to CGST plus IGST. This is not the way. This is the way. So when she asked us, I just realized that this thing there. That's what IGST is equal to CGST plus SGST. And this SGST goes to what? The consuming state. Just write it. In your implementation features, you expect destination based tax. You just decide that, you take it out. You take it as a load in the first week. You just write this and dictate. IGST is equal to CGST plus SGST. Take it in the first page only. Because I am going to take it, so I don't think so you have to take it. In the first page, take on the load. IGST is equal to CGST plus SGST. IGST is equal to CGST plus SGST. Let's continue. If we consider IGST on a goods, if we consider IGST on a goods or on a good, IGST on a good is 18%. If we consider IGST on a good is 18%, then it is divided as 50-50. Then it is divided as 50-50. Divided as 50-50 between center and consuming state. It is divided as 50-50 between center and consuming state. Next, full stop and write up. 9% goes to center. 9% goes to center, and remaining 9% of SGST goes to consuming state, and remaining 9% of SGST goes to consuming state. Is this clear? I'll be by in this type of way, and some of us will settle for just start this topic with just brief it there. So what all you guys know about budget? Scholars, annual financial statement. So is the budget not mentioned in Constitution? The budget is not mentioned. So budget and word mention in the Constitution. Just remember. So there are few questions where they will say that whether this has gone to the quality derivatives. How many of you gone through? I'm not going to ask question. See, just have to go through POIs. See, POIs is because then only you guys will understand right how the question came to the. So leave about which at least what leaves me Google because then only you guys will understand what to read and what not. So in quality, usually what they'll ask, they'll give the word and they'll ask whether this word is mentioned in Constitution or not. So direct other directly. So they'll ask whether either meaning is or whether this is mentioned or not. They'll directly ask whether this word is provided in Constitution or not. Means it's not proper literature. Like other word, alle copy, literal copy we got that. So literal copy guide. Then only we say that this is provided in the Constitution. So they ask so many words. You know the judicial review. So is judicial review mentioned in the Constitution? No. So that was one of your POI. In that way, you have so many POI. Right? You just go through those. So for every subject, make sure you go through the POI. So in the same way, when your budget is not mentioned in the Constitution. So instead of budget or what they have mentioned, annual financial statement, which means the same. So any of which article? 110 is money bill, right? 110 is money bill. What it decide? So ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ದುಡ್ಡು ತಗೋಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಅಥವಾ ಅದರೊಳಗಡೆ ದುಡ್ಡು ಹಾಕಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ that will dealt with under money bill. That is article 110. So annual financial statement is under article 112. Double 112. Right? And then so budget, like let us say budget will include what all type of bills? Just take a general idea if you have. ಎರಡು ಬಿಲ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಯಾವುದು? Finance bill and finance. Finance bill is correct. Then that to finance bill and appropriation. Finance bill and appropriation. So what do they deal with? What the finance bill will deal with? It's okay, we don't need to worry. What? Finance bill and what to say here? Appropriation. First, like let us say finance bill is it deals with the receipts. So ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿಂದ ದುಡ್ಡು ಬರಬೇಕು. Okay, ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿಂದ ದುಡ್ಡು ಬರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, all the GST, cess, surcharge, central tax, indirect tax, direct tax. So all will be considered under what your finance bill. If tax bracket ಹಾಕಿದೀವಿ ಗೊತ್ತಲ್ಲ ನಾವು. So 5 lakh below is there 0 tax, 24 lakh above is there 30% tax. So those all things will come under your finance bill. Where all you are getting money. So to pass that, they pass a bill which is called as finance bill. Appropriation bill ಅಂತ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Appropriation bill ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ? That will deciding where all the money goes. From where all the money comes, they pass it as finance bill. So within next 30 days, they have to pass what your appropriation. ಅದನ್ನ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ expenditure ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, we call it as appropriation. Getting that? So these all things will be included in your budget document. You should be knowing what all is included in your budget document. It will include the receipts and also what to say the expenditure. Receipts are the income and expenditure is where all they are going to invest the money. Fine. So what it is? What is the budget? Budget is what? It's, remember this one. What is it? It is estimate. So if you was the budget pass ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? ಹಳೆ ವರ್ಷದ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ತಾನೆ? It will take the next financial year, right? So this is 2026. So 2026 ಅಲ್ಲಿ budget pass ಆದರೆ what they will say? Budget document 2026-27. ಅಂದ್ರೆ next April ಬರೋವರೆಗೂ, next let us say next 27th year 2027 April ಬರೋವರೆಗೂ what can be the estimated income and estimated expenditure. So those things will be considered under your budget. So it is a for a future period of time. This is your budget. So budget is not telling about previous things, past things. It will have, we will discuss. There are some other documents also inside that, but the main document is about what? It is about the future expenditure and the future income. So we are doing what? We are doing the estimation. ಅದು ಅಚೀವ್ ಆಗೋದನ್ನು ಗ್ಯಾರಂಟಿ ಇಲ್ಲ and no year there to achievement. ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ವೇರಿಯಬಲ್ ಉಳಿದೇ ಉಳಿಯುತ್ತೆ. So every year ಅವರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ನಾವು ಫಿಸ್ಕಲ್ ಡೆಫಿಸಿಟ್ 0 ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಯಾವ ವರ್ಷನೂ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. So in no way they can make it as 0. So it is about estimate. Remember, it is an estimate of income and the expenditure of a future period of time by the government. And I am telling you, the whole government budgeting is there, right? Only thing in the perspective of union. Telling this one. The other exception is there, I will tell you what are the exceptions. But till then, you think that the whole concept that we are reading is with respect to the union government, not with respect to the state government, because it varies. So you take the example, set the example of union government and then read the whole thing. Then first we have Article 265, we already read, right, in tax collection. So it's only authority of law that can levy or impose the tax, no other private entity. Then you have Article 266, that is what? No expenditure can be incurred without the approval of legislature. Means you need parliament only. And what we are talking about? We are talking about budget. And whenever we talk about budget and whenever we talk about parliament only, so about which fund we are talking about? So budget is about amount ಎಲ್ಲ ಇದರಿಂದ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಫಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ only, not from your public account or from your contingency account. And I am telling you, public account to contingency account ಗೆ money ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅದು ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ? Any idea? It goes from CFI. Telling this, sir. It goes from Concept Fund of India only, it goes to contingency fund and public account. Getting that? So that's why here we need what? The parliamentary voting that is mentioned in Article 266. No expenditure can be incurred without the approval of the legislature. That means you need parliamentary voting. So we are talking with respect to union. State alone kuda whose permission you need? State itself. So then this is the important fact there. So budget is prepared by who? The budget division under Department of Economic Affairs under Ministry of Finance. I said right. So Ministry of Finance one is there, but it has got several departments. So Department of Economic Affairs, Department of Expenditure, then Department of Revenue, and then you have Department of this Public Asset Management and this Investment. So DPAP, which we read. So there are so many departments. So that's why we have deputy ministers also. Everything cannot be handled by one minister. So then what your Article 112 says, it's about President lays down the annual financial statement before Parliament every year. So this was actually 2024, I guess they had given this as a question actually. They have mentioned the Prime Minister actually. So you should be knowing that these are basic things, right? So yaar laid down financial annual financial statement, and you should be knowing. So you have different commissions, right? OBC commission, SC/ST commission. Those are all what constitutional body or statutory body? Constitutional body. Commission on OBC, commission on SC/ST, commission for SC is there, commission for ST is there, and commission for OBC is there. All three are constitutional body. All three are what? Constitutional body. See, you don't have to read ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಪೇಜಸ್ ಹೋಗಬೇಕಿಲ್ಲ. ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಮಿಷನ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. Then just try to write out which is statutory and which is constitutional. So there is the National Commission on Women. So what it is? It's a statutory. And National Commission on Human Rights ಅಂತ ಇದೆ. So that is also statutory. Just have a list. Detailed procedure ಎಲ್ಲ ಓದಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. The basic thing you need is which is statutory and which is constitutional. So in that way, whenever it's a constitutional body, I just tell you this small logic you can take it out. Whenever it's a constitutional body, all the time reports are presented by whom? President. And whenever it is a statutory body, most of the time it is presented by the central government in the parliament. Getting that? So one of the small logic that you can think of. ಯಾವ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನಲ್ ಬಾಡಿ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಆ ಬಾಡಿ ಏನು ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಬರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ that report will be presented by the president. And whenever it is a statutory body, at that time it will be by central government or your prime minister. And in this case, the annual financial statement is laid down by the president. And as I said, budget word is what not mentioned in your constitution. It's only what is mentioned in the annual financial statement. Then what your budget document will have? So these are the three things. So your budget is not just an estimate. So it is estimate for the next financial year. Then it is budget and revised estimate of current financial year. So let us take example there. And that's what actuals of previous financial year. We'll take the example that it will be clear for you. So let us say that 2025-26 ಅಲ್ಲಿ they announced the budget. And they announced the budget. So our budget document ಅಲ್ಲಿ as a whole financial statement ಅಲ್ಲಿ there will be three different documents. The first one is what? When the government presents union budget in 2025-26, it will show first one is the budget estimate for your 2025-26 financial year. Means it is a future estimation. See, ಈ ವರ್ಷ 2025 ಅಲ್ಲಿ present ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. Then it will go till when 2026 February, right? See, again February ಇನ್ನೊಂದ್ಸತಿ budget ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Then announce the budget or they will present the budget in the parliament. So till then, ಯಾವ income ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಯಾವ expenditure ಬರಲ್ಲ. So those all estimation will be what for your upcoming financial year, and this will be first document. And your second document will be like revised estimated the current year 2024-2025. So ಈಗ 2025-26 ಈ ವರ್ಷ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ, ಸೊ ಈ ವರ್ಷ ಎಸ್ಟಿಮೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ, ಅದನ್ನ ರೀಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ತಾನೆ ವೆದರ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅಚೀವ್ಡ್ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್. ಸೊ ಈ 2025-26 ಅಚೀವ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಯಾವಾಗ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? 2026-27 ಫೈನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಇಯರ್. ಸೊ ಈ ಡಾಕ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದನ್ನ ಅನಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ವೆದರ್ 100 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಬಂದಿದೆಯೋ ಇಲ್ವೋ, ಅಂಡ್ ಏನು 100 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಖರ್ಚು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ, ಸೊ ಅದು ಖರ್ಚು ಮಾಡಿದ್ವೋ ಇಲ್ವೋ, ಅದು 100 ಅಂದಿದ್ದಿಂದ 120 ಖರ್ಚು ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಗೆಟಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್? So those kind of things will be revised again. Means they will go through that again if there are any corrections. And then what will happen? Actuals of 2023-24. 2 years back in the Kura, they again bring the document and say that so this was estimated and what was the actual attainment. So the other actual and final particular. Getting this? These are the three documents. So first one, you know, Mundin year, right? Mundin year ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. And this is your still it will be a correct financial year. Let us take example of this one. So they ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ 2025 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫೆಬ್ರವರಿ ಅನೌನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಈ ಬಜೆಟ್. This budget will be announced in 2025 February. So at that time, ಈ ಫೈನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಇಯರ್ ನೀವು ಓಡ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ because it will be running till April, till 2025 April ವರೆಗೂ ಇದು ರನ್ ಆಗ್ತಿರುತ್ತೆ. So that's why even your current financial year is considered. It's nothing but previous estimate ಮಾಡಿದ್ದನ್ನ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, then future estimate ಮಾಡಿದ್ದನ್ನ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. So future estimate ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡೋದು is your first one, and previous year ಇರೋದು that is the second document. You can also call it as current financial year. And the third one is your figures of the previous financial year. So ಎರಡು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಮುಂಚೆ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ that. So these are the three documents. ಇಷ್ಟು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕೊಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ, but ಜಾಸ್ತಿ difference then say that how many documents. So three documents. You just have to remember that future estimation, then what previous year estimate ಮಾಡ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ ಅದು ಮ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ, and again 1 year back towards that. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ವರ್ಷ ಹಿಂದೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು ನೀವು, ಅದು ಒಂದು document. So these are the three documents that will be mentioned in your budget. Right? It's not only about the estimation, it's about the revised and actual of previous years also. Any doubt with this? Let me know. Right? Don't worry about the years. Just have to remember that ಒಂದು ಮುಂಚೆ ಮುಂದೆ ಮಾಡೋ ಎಸ್ಟಿಮೇಷನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, and then what will happen? ಹಿಂದಿನ ಇಯರ್ ಎಸ್ಟಿಮೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದನ್ನ ಕರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದೇನು ಆಕ್ಚುಯಲ್ ಡಾಕ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ 2 years back ಇರುತ್ತೆ. So that will also be taken into account. Take it out. So then this is your finance bill and the appropriation. So this is mentioned in article 110. So what is that here? Article 110 ಯಾವುದು? Because in money bill only we discuss, right? ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ income. So ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿಂದ income ಬರಬೇಕು. So first we'll tell about what are the tax. So tax decide ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು money bill ಅಲ್ಲಿ. Then we'll also decide what borrowings. So ಬೇರೆ government ಇಂದ borrow ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, public ಇಂದ borrowing ಆಯ್ತು. So that will also be decided by money bill. So these all are called income, taxes or receipts. That's nothing but your income. So this will be covered under your financial bill. So you cannot say tell money bill directly. We should tell that finance bill is a type of money bill. Right? Money bill only, there are so many other things also. And this finance bill we are talking because it is specifically respected for with respect to your government budgeting. Because your money bill you ಬೇರೆ time ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ pass ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. Let us say that you want to take extra money in between year extra money ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಅವಾಗ ಕೂಡ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ, you pass the money bill only. But here what is we are talking about? We are talking with respect to the budget. So budget year already. Let's say in the month of February or March, if you are taking the money bill, then what it means, it is a finance bill under Article 110. Getting that? And then you have expenditure. Means wherever you guys are going to spend. Engine spend ಮಾಡಿದಿರೋ ಅಥವಾ road construction, right? Otherwise, let us say the infrastructure like port ಮಾಡಿಸಿರೋ, airport ಮಾಡಿಸಿರೋ. So all those expenditures will come under appropriation bill, that is under Article 114. So this is not much required actually. Article number ಗೆ economical check, but in case if they ask in quality, you have to write this. So I think hardly some 30 articles are there. So whichever even I am writing, right, there are hardly 30 articles. 30 articles you just have to what rectify. Why not go over? A word bardare you just have to write the article. GST council bardare and bardare 279. And you know this collective responsibility of the parliamentary collective responsibility. Council of Ministers is what responsible to whom? Lok Sabha Parliament we say. So which article? Yeah, 75. So whenever you write collective responsibility, or we say right, executive is responsible to legislature. So that is the parliamentary form of government. So as a parliamentary form of government, you can write Article 75 direct. So you have some 30 articles. Just try to remember them and write in your answers. And that will give you a validation. Yeah. Any down with this? Receipts and expenditure. So receipts deals with what? This is the finance bill deals with from where all we get the money, and expenditure will deal with where all we are going to put the money or invest the money. Then you have types of budget. So first is your what? Full budget. Full budget ಅಂದ್ರೆ normally produce by what to say the past budget, right? So that is your normal budget. So interim budget ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ you guys heard last year interim budget ಆಯ್ತು. ಮಾಡಿ last year 2024. So interim budget ಯಾವಾಗ ಪಾಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ let's say that election ಮುಂದೆ ಇದೆ ಈಗ, right? Election ಮುಂದೆ ಇದೆ, they think that so May election ಆಯ್ತಾ in 2024. So May election ಆಯ್ತು. So May election ಆಯ್ತು, ಅವಾಗ government budget ಪಾಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. In February they have to pass the budget. So what do you think? Or full year budget pass ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗುತ್ತಾ? No, right? Because if they pass also, they don't know whether they will come to power or again. ವಾಪಸ್ ತಿರ್ಗಾ ಪವರಿಗೆ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ ಅಥವಾ ಎಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಗೆಲ್ತಾರೋ ಇಲ್ಲೋ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. So they pass something called interim budget. So only for those small months of time. So 3 to 4 months ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ we call it as interim budget. It is just the convention ಅಷ್ಟೇ. It is not like it is not mentioned in your constitution. It is just a practice that is followed by the present government. So near the election ittaga, they cannot announce the budget for full year because they don't know whether there will be power in or not. So that's why for small number of months they will announce the budget. We call it as what? Interim budget. Interim ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ temporary period, right? So if we call that ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು nation downfall ಆದಾಗ interim president or interim prime minister ಅಂತ they announce. So interim means what? It's a temporary. So here also it is what? Here temporary. And definitely they can ask you that interim budget is mentioned in your constitution. So you should be knowing it. It is what? It is nothing different from a budget. It is still a budget, but it's just a convention. As a practice, government will follow that. And government has necessity, they can announce full budget only. If they feel that okay, so the election they can just go for that. There is no necessity. It is just a practice. Election year by the outgoing government for a part of the year. So full year can announce padakagalla. Then what? Full budget is the complete accounts, but for a limited period. So it is not constitutionally mandatory. It is just a political convention. So then what here? Interim budget of 2024 was approved for how many months? 4 months from April to July 2024. Because everyone knew that, so May of the election in another 1 or 2 months you get the result. So result go time again new government will be formed there, and again it was again BJP only came to power. So again they thought to produce another budget there, another budget because this was only for 4 months, right? So they announced another full budget. Until the full budget could be presented by the new government. You got this one? Entry budget ಅಂದ್ರೆ is nothing different. ಬೇರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ full budget ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Full budget ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ receipts ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, expenditure ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಗಬೇಕು, ಎಲ್ಲ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. But only difference is that full year ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. It will be for part of the months. 4 months or 5 months ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. And it's not mentioned in the constitution at all. It is just the practice, or what to say, it's a practice by the governments. Outgoing government is there, they just take the precaution. Why to announce full budget? We just make the part of it. Any doubt with these two? Then they have something called vote on account. So vote on account. Actually, this used to happen. ಇದು ಮುಂಚೆ ಯಾವಾಗ ಇತ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಮುಂಚೆ ಯಾವಾಗ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಬಜೆಟ್ ಈಗ ಬಿಫೋರ್ 2014 ಬಜೆಟ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಟು ಪಾಸ್ ಇನ್ ಮಾರ್ಚ್ ರೈಟ್ ಬಟ್ ಈಗ ಯಾವಾಗ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಇನ್ ಫೆಬ್ರವರಿ ದೇ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಸೊ ಮುಂಚೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ ದೇ ಯೂಸ್ ಟು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ ಮಾರ್ಚ್ ಸೊ ಮಾರ್ಚ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಏಪ್ರಿಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಗಿಬಿಡಬೇಕಿತ್ತು ರೈಟ್ ಏಪ್ರಿಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಗಿಬೇಕು ಏಪ್ರಿಲ್ ಇಂದ ಹೊಸ ಫೈನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಸೊ ಏಪ್ರಿಲ್ ಇಂದ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಂಡಿಚರ್ ನ್ಯೂ ಇಯರ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಕೀಮ್ಸ್ ಏಪ್ರಿಲ್ ಇಂದ ದುಡ್ಡು ಬರೋದು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ದ ನ್ಯೂ ಮನಿ ಕಮಿಂಗ್ ಅಂಡ್ ನ್ಯೂ ಮನಿ ಔಟ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಏಪ್ರಿಲ್ ಬಟ್ ಇವರು ಮಾರ್ಚ್ ಇಂದ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ ಇಟ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಟು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಡ್ ಇವ್ರು ಬಜೆಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೊಡೆದಾಡಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮುಗಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಟು ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಮೇ ಜೂನ್ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡೋದು ರೈಟ್ ಸೊ ಏಪ್ರಿಲ್ ಕ್ರಾಸ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡೋದು ಸೊ ಏಪ್ರಿಲ್ ಕ್ರಾಸ್ ಆದಾಗ ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗ್ತಿತ್ತು ಬಟ್ ಮನಿ ಬೇಕಾನೆ ಏಪ್ರಿಲ್ ಫೈನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಎಂಡ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಯಾರು ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ತೊಗೊಳಕ್ಕೆ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ದೇ ಯೂಸ್ ಟು ಕಾಲ್ ಫಾರ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ವೋಟ್ ಆನ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಸೊ ವೋಟ್ ಆನ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ಮಾರ್ಚಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಿತ್ತು ಸೊ ಮಾರ್ಚಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ನೂ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ ಇದೆ ದೇ ಗಾಟ್ ಟು ನೋ ದಟ್ ಏಪ್ರಿಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಬಜೆಟ್ ಇದು ಸೊ ದೇ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ದ ಪಾರ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ದೇ ಸೇ ದಟ್ ಸಿ ಏಪ್ರಿಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಗವರ್ನಮೆಂಟ್ ರನ್ ಮಾಡಲೇಬೇಕು ಅದರ್ವೈಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ಫಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಬಂದಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಸೊ ಟು ರನ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಏಪ್ರಿಲ್ ಮಂತ್ ವಿ ನೀಡ್ ಮನಿ ಸೊ ಫಾರ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಮನಿ ದೇ ಯೂಸ್ ಟು ಗೋ ಫಾರ್ ವೋಟ್ ಆನ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗ್ತಿತ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅಲೋಕೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು ಸೊ 1 ಮಂತಿಗೆ ಅಥವಾ 2 ಮಂತ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಬೇಕೋ ಅಷ್ಟು ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಅಲೋಕೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ರನ್ನಿಂಗ್ ದ ಗವರ್ನಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಬಟ್ ತಿರ್ಗಾ ಪಾಸ್ ಆಗಲೇಬೇಕು ಬಜೆಟ್ ಅಟ್ ದ ಎಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಡೇ ಬಟ್ ಆ ಬಜೆಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಗವರ್ನೆನ್ಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಪರ್ ಆಗಬಾರ್ದು ಅಥವಾ ಗವರ್ನೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಬ್ಸ್ಟಕಲ್ ಆಗಿ ನಿಲ್ಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ ದೇ ಯೂಸ್ ಟು ಫಂಡ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ vote on account. Use when budget has not been passed but government needs funds to what continue the operation. ಇದಕ್ಕೂ ಲೋಕಸಭಾ ಅಪ್ರೂವಲ್ ಬೇಕೇ ಬೇಕು ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಂಡಿಚರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಿಂದ ತಗೋತೀರಾ ಕನ್ಸಲ್ಟ್ ಫಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಇಂದ ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ತಗೋಬಂದ್ರೆ ಯು ನೀಡ್ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಇಟ್ ಕವರ್ಸ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಂಡಿಚರ್ ಅದು ರಿಸಿಪ್ಟ್ ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಗವರ್ನಮೆಂಟ್ ರನ್ ಮಾಡೋಕೆ ಬೇಕು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಂಡಿಚರ್ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಬೇಕು ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ತಗೊಂಡು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಎನಿವೇ ರಿಸರ್ವ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಸೊ ದೇ ಸೇ ದಟ್ ವಿ ಯೂಸ್ ದಟ್ ರಿಸರ್ವ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಪೀರಿಯಡ್ ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ 2014 ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ದೇ ಶಿಫ್ಟೆಡ್ ದ ಬಜೆಟ್ ಮಂತ್ ಟು ವಾಟ್ ಫೆಬ್ರವರಿ ಈ ಫೆಬ್ರವರಿಯಿಂದಲೇ ಪಾಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಸೊ ನೌ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಮೋರ್ ಯೂಸ್ ವೋಟ್ ಆನ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ಯುವರ್ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಈಗ ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ವೋಟ್ ಆನ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಶಿಫ್ಟೆಡ್ ದ ಮಂತ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಮಾರ್ಚ್ ಟು ದ ಫೆಬ್ರವರಿ ಸೊ ಫೆಬ್ರವರಿ ಶಿಫ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಡಿಲೇ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾರ್ಚ್ 15 ದ ಮಾರ್ಚ್ 16 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಂಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಬಜೆಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ ಪಾಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ದೆನ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಸೀಮ್ಲೆಸ್ so smooth agi we just enter the April financial year getting that so you got the use of vote on account and it's mentioned in constitution but now it has become redundant useless agide because we don't need that usually approved for how many months 2 months at a time ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ so it will be 1/6 of the annual expenditure because 12 month expenditure so ಅದನ್ನ 2 months ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ 12/2 is here so 1/6 of expenditure any doubt on the vote on account see idರಲ್ಲಿ starting ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ part of your quality you just have to bear with that it will be repetition but after this is completely covered then you have something called outcome budgeting right see this is the what to say new thing that is happening there outcome budgeting anta see subject budget pass ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ so what they do they just put the money so amount pass ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ they say that 10000 crore engineering ಕೊಡೋಣ engineering adali expenditure 10000 crore ಆಗುತ್ತೆ so we'll just allow that 10000 crore ಅಂತ ಅಂತಾರೆ but what will be the issue ಅಲ್ಲಿ issue ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ tell me government expenditure ಎಲ್ಲ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಹೋಗುತ್ತಾ so ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕರಪ್ಷನ್ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾಕೆಟ್ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ and even if the what like project execute ಆದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ there will be no proper implementation ರೋಡ್ ಏನೋ ಹಾಕ್ಸ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತಾರೆ ಬಟ್ ಖರಾಬ್ ರೋಡ್ ಹಾಕ್ಸ್ತಾರೆ ರೈಟ್ ಸೊ ಎಂಜಿನಿಯರ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವೇಜಸ್ ಏನೋ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತಾರೆ ಬಟ್ ಕೊಡೋದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ so that's the governance issue you will be reading in your governance so there was a issue in actually I think Kerala I guess fake muster rules anತಾರೆ fake muster rules so what happened was like fake master roads. So ಎಂಜಿನಿಯರ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಕೊಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತಾ? ಸೊ ನೀವು ಎಂಜಿನಿಯರ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, they give the unskilled work, right? So you ತೆಗೆದು ತೊಡೋದು ಅಥವಾ ರೋಡ್ ಮಾಡಿಸೋದು ಮಾಡಿಸ್ತಾರೆ ಜನರ ಕೈಯಲ್ಲಿ, then they give the daily wage. So that is employment guarantee program under engineering. ಕೇರಳದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ರೋಡ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡಿಸಲಿಲ್ಲ. So fake names ಹಾಕಿದ್ರು beneficiaries. They put the fake names and then what? Took the money for themselves. But fake money like name ಆಗಿದ್ದು ಯಾವ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ at least ನಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೋಗೋದು ಅಮೆರಿಕನ್ ಅಮಿತಾಬ್ ಬಚ್ಚನ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರು. So like government people are that type. At least they can Rahul, Ajit, Pawan, hero hakiದ್ರೆ it will be different, right? But American Amitabh Bachchan, Shah Rukh Khan hakiದ್ರು. So they are that type and it was got caught actually. In your fake master road, it got caught. So what is happening here? ನೀವೇನೋ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಏನೋ ಕೊಡ್ತೀರಾ ಗವರ್ನಮೆಂಟ್, ಪಾರ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಪಾಸ್ ಇಟ್, ಬಟ್ ಅಡ್ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ ನಾಟ್ ಬಿ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ ಥಿಂಗ್. ಸೊ ಅಟ್ ದಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ದೇ ಕೇಮ್ ಅಪ್ ವಿತ್ ಅ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಔಟ್ಕಮ್ ಬಜೆಟ್. Outcome budgeting. So before this, you just have a glance over this thing. There is something called outlay. Then you have called output, and then comes your outcome. You can use it in any of the answer writing. Outlay, output, and outcome. So first outlay it's about allocating the funds. So let us take example of IMR. What do you mean by IMR and MMR? Infant mortality rate and maternal mortality rate. So it's very much important. So ಯಾವುದೇ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಇವನ್ DP ಆಯಿತು ಅಥವಾ ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇಂಡೆಕ್ಸ್ ಆಯಿತು, whichever they go for, then think about these two values. Infant mortality rate ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ, maternal mortality rate ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ. So ಅದರ ಮೇಲೆ you will also see that whether it is a developed or developing nation. Getting this one? So this is very much important, and whenever government focuses on this IMMR, MMR, say whenever they focus on this, what they do first, fund allocation ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. They do the fund allocation. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ into outlay match. Outlay is about fund allocation. Then they go for output. So in ensure ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, they build the hospitals, right? So infrastructure ಕೂಡ ಸೆಟ್ ಅಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, right, to ensure that IMR MMR ಎರಡು ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗಲಿ ಅಂತ. So ಮುಂಚೆ ಏನೋ 10 20 ಇತ್ತು, now we have to build what 5 or 10. So like 5 to 2 to 5 or 2 to 7 ತರಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ they want to reduce their both mortality rates. So to for that first they allocated the fund, that is your outlay. Then they go for the infrastructure, hospital build ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. Then what becomes output ಕೂಡ matching, right? So fund ಹಾಕಿದ್ದಾರೆ, hospital build ಆಗಿದೆ. But now the issue comes in ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಇತರ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಗವರ್ನಮೆಂಟ್ ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟಲ್ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಅಪೋಲೋದಲ್ಲೇ ಸಿಗ್ತಾರೆ, ರೈಟ್? ಅಪೋಲೋ ಮಣಿಪಾಲ್ ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಸಿಗ್ತಾರೆ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ that's for name sake, they will not be there. So what will happen there? Hospital ಅಲ್ಲಿ there are no doctors. So hospital ಇದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ there are no instruments ಇರಲ್ಲ, facilities ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. So what happens? Your outcome will fail. Getting this one? So your outcome will fail. I'll tell you, ಇಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ 100% ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಗವರ್ನಮೆಂಟ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು 50% ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಂಡಿಚರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. So 50% ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಬರ್ತದೆ, 50% ಆಫ್ ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟಲ್ ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಬಟ್ ಔಟ್ಕಮ್ ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಲೆಸ್ ದನ್ 10% in your government. So this is your concept of what? Outlay, output, and outcome. And nowadays government is focusing on what? Your outcome. Because all ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಿದೆ, outlay is not enough. So ಈಗ output ಗೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. So now they are still evolving in output. They want to go for outcome now. So now they will say that, see, program success ಆಗಿದೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಎದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, they will not say what to say. They will not say whether fund is allocated or not. So before like 1960s ಆವಾಗಿತ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ fund allocate ಆದರೆ that is a successful implementation. So 1980s 1990s ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ they started focusing on output. So fund allocation ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅಲ್ಲ, hospital construct ಆಗಿದೆಯೋ ಇಲ್ವೋ, so that is what it is the deciding factor. Now ಈಗ in the last 10 to 15 years they are focusing on outcome. So it's not only about fund, it's not only about hospital, actual like IMR MMR reduce ಆಗಿದೆಯೋ ಇಲ್ವೋ. Getting that? Again in the case of road construction also they go for the same. Road construction ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, fund allocate ಆಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ನೋಡ್ತಾರೆ, so outlay fix ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Then what road actually construct ಆಗಿದೆಯೋ ಇಲ್ಲ ನೋಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅವಾಗ output fix ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Then because of that road economic activity increase ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಇಲ್ಲ ಹಾಕ್ಸಿದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಡೇ ಕಿತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ, that be your outcome. ಅದು road accidents ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗಿದೆ ನೋಡಿ. So there are different parameters to calculate your what? Outcome. So now government is focusing on this, so that's why outcome budgeting is also a type of budgeting. But in India, after actually, because we all follow what something called line budgeting. We call it as what? Line budgeting. So line budgeting is ಈ ವರ್ಷ ಎಂಜಿನಿಯರಿಂಗಲ್ಲಿ 10,000 crore ಅಲಾಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸಪೋಸ್ ದೇ ಅಲಾಟೆಡ್ 10,000 crore. ಸೊ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಇಯರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಏನು ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸರ್ 10,000 crore ಓಕೆ ಇದೆ, ಬಟ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಇಯರ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಂಡಿಚರ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದೆ, ವಿಲ್ ಗೋ ಫಾರ್ 12,000 crore. ಸೊ ಗವರ್ನಮೆಂಟ್ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಓಕೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಲೈನ್ ಬಜೆಟಿಂಗ್. ಎವ್ರಿ ಇಯರ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಂಡಿಚರ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತಾನೆ ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ, ಬಟ್ ಆರ್ ದೇ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರಿಂಗ್ ದ ಔಟ್ಕಮ್ಸ್? No, they are not considering outcomes, they are not considering the effective implementation of the scheme. So that's why the outcome is failing in India. Outcome budgeting is mostly possible in what ISRO don't follow ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ outcome budgeting ಅಲ್ಲಿ. They follow that, they are very honest with that. So ISRO is the only department where they go for outcome or we also got a zero budgeting. So ಅದೊಂದೇ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದು ಬಿಟ್ರೆ all other depends on what kind of line budgeting, where they only fix to what outlay, sometimes not even the output. Got this concept? Right. That's just 4 times. We continue the next class.
ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಎಲ್ಲ ಅದೊಬ್ಬರೆಲ್ಲ ಅದಾವೆ ಒಂದು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂಗಡಿ ಅಷ್ಟು ಓಪನ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಯಾರು ಬರೋಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾರು ನಾನು ಬಂದಾಗ ಅಂಗಡಿ ಹಬ್ಬ ಆಯ್ತಪ್ಪ ತೆಗಿತಾರ, ಜಸ್ಟ್ ತೆಗಿತಾರ, ಪೂಜೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಅವ್ರು ಹೆಂಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಳ ಮಂದಿ ಆರಾಮಾಗಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು ಇಲ್ಲ 2 ದಿನಕ್ಕೆ 4 ಕ್ರಾಸ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿರುತ್ತೆ ಊಟ. ಎಷ್ಟು ಹಂಗೆ ಇಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ 1 ಅವರ್ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಬಂದು ಎಂಟ